So I'm not a fan of long introductions, and you hear these automated introductions to podcasts, and they've all been very drawn out. So you will soon get to know me if you follow this podcast, that I'm not one for faff. Make drawn out long introductions, so that's just not me. So I'm just going to get straight into it. I've started this podcast just to document my journey, really, and it all stems back to just ironing shirts on a Sunday. So this moment here, ironing shirts on a Sunday, is where it all changed, or started to change, and making myself aware of I'm unhappy. So I was in the office life, 9 to 5, and I'd get there slightly early, 7 o'clock, say, and I'd leave at pretty much 4 o'clock, which is the earliest time you can leave. And this is when everyone's looking at their watch as you're walking out, putting your coat on. Oh, leaving already? Used to wind me up so much. Yeah, because I'm entitled to leave now, and I have a life, and I want to live it, not stay till 4:30 because it's not as frowned upon if you leave at 4:30. Anyway, so don't want to drag that out too long, but ironing shirts on a Sunday really did wind me up so much, because it's just you're stepping into the mindset of working already, and it's still the Sunday, and it really started to get to me. It sounds silly, but just everything about the office life, because I was on the shop floor before going to the office, really started to get to me. The politics of office, such as emails, the way people sign off on an email, basically to give you some shit, and they word it, and it's always I can't even remember, to be honest, like, looking forward to your response on this. And silly little emails, and it's just like, why don't you just say it how it is? Anyway, on the shop floor, it was always just say it how it is, and I missed that. So the politics of office, leaving at 4 o'clock, the way emails is constructed, ironing shirts on a Sunday, just really started to get me down. And my manager's job, the position came up, and I applied for it, and went home that evening, and I was speaking to my wife and thinking, I'm not excited by this. It's literally the next logical step to go for it, but I wasn't excited by it, so I pulled out. And my boss said to me, well, what's the next step for you then? And I was like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And he's like, well, what's your 5-year plan? 5 years is always too much to have a plan anyway. 5 years is way too long. So much. I think when your manager kind of says, what's your 5-year plan? They don't understand how much change can happen in 5 years, because they've always been in a worker's environment. But an entrepreneur's environment, 5 years is massive. I'd say have a 12-month plan, or 2-year max. So much can change in 2 years. 5 years is just way too long. So anyway, I was going through an exam at the time, and I failed it. And I'm not one to be beat in life. I hate being beaten. So I retook the exam. I had a month before the exam date. So I studied relentlessly. And it's all based on memory, really. It's project management, APM. Real tough exam. And I passed it. And the email come through to my boss, and he called me over and said, well done, congratulations, you passed it. And I was like, yeah, thank you very much, but I won't be doing this again. Never again. I'm actually looking at other jobs. So that shocked him a little bit. And I said, yeah, I'm looking to get back on the shop floor. So I was actively looking for jobs back on shift, because it suited my lifestyle better. I knew I wanted to start a business, and there was no chance of doing it whilst in the office, for me anyway, because it was stuck in traffic on the way to work, and then stuck in traffic on the way back from work. And just on shift, you'd leave earlier in the day so you don't get stuck in any traffic, and you leave earlier in the day as well so you don't get stuck in traffic driving home. So there's so much time saved. And obviously with me being in shift before going to the office, I knew that lifestyle and I missed it. So I was really quite down, I'd say, for about 6 months while I was looking for another job. Huge factory, many jobs available. So when the right job come up, I got it. It's really good, much happier person, and I was really content. I even said to myself, yep, I was 32 at the time. I said I'd stay in this job until I'm 60. Easy. This is it now. This is it for me. Sod the ambition and the office life and becoming a manager. This is it for me. So that was that. I was happy. I was on the shop floor, getting home at 2:30 in the afternoon. The rest of the days to tinker with jet skis and gardening and just kind of concentrate on, right, I want a side hustle. So I actually started gardening. I started looking after 3 large gardens for neighbours, really, and taking cash in hand just to get that extra bit of cash. And then soon discovered that wasn't for me. Even though I loved gardening, it just turned it into a job, and that wasn't for me. But then I got the buzz of a business, all at the same time of looking for side hustles, and I started to talk to my wife more about it, and she said, well, why don't we, next door is up for sale, let's look at buying that. Way out of our budget, way out. There's no chance. Even if we tried to remortgage, it was way out of our budget. So then I had the bug for property. It's like, well, what is in our budget? And we found a house which was really quite in bad state. It was a full-on back-to-brick job, damp course, roof, back-to-brick, you name it. And I got the bug for that. So we made an offer, went on a property day course to learn how to stack these kind of deals, put an offer in, and it went £50,000 above my offer. And the way I stacked the offer was really competitive as well. After a full refurb, it would have left £10,000 in the deal. So I wouldn't have seen any money back out for about maybe a year and a half from renting it. Anyway, then I really got the bug for property and thought, well, I went on that property course and there was a few other strategies. So I went back on it, discovered rent to rent, and I thought, wow, you really don't need a lot of money to start. 5-6 grand max, and that includes training. So I really studied rent to rent for a good couple of months, looking for a mentor, because I understand how important a coach is, a mentor. So starting a rent-to-rent business, there's so many things to get wrong. It's an expensive game. You're guaranteeing a lot of money to landlords and agents. I didn't want to get it wrong. I didn't want to sign up to a big coaching academy where there's hundreds, if not thousands of students and you're just in a classroom. I wanted the hand-holding mentorship. And I did find a good mentorship. It was good at the time. It was short-lived, 3 months. I got what I needed from it, and then I just went on to absolutely smashing rent to rent relentlessly. I was so hungry to become financially free. I didn't want to delay it. I didn't want to prolong it. All of my annual leave from work was spent on viewing properties. That's the sort of mindset you need. It's got to be relentless. You've got to be proactive. It needs to be speed. Because if there's people like me now going for properties, if you're new to rent, you need to be just as fast, if not faster, more proactive than I am. And that's the sort of mindset I had. It was like, right, I need to beat the best guys in this industry. Get the offers in quick. How motivated is the landlord? And I'll give you an example. I viewed a 4-bed HMO and the contracts were signed less than 24 hours later. So I viewed it, stacked it through the calculator, offered on it, and then signed the contracts with the landlords the next day. All in the space of 24 hours. Where somebody else might have seen it and be like, oh, call up the agent tomorrow after work. Gone already. So I say to my mentees all the time, the faster you are, the more proactive you are, the more eager you are, that is when it happens. At the level of frustration, you need to be frustrated. You need to act fast. You can't delay things. The moment you see it, jump on it. It's an opportunity. Don't miss it. So, how did I become a mentor? One of my old school friends was messaging me, and at the time I was given an opportunity for another platform to be a coach for them, and I took them up on this offer. And then I had an old school friend, she's still on my program now, Emma, and she was my very first mentee, actually, and it's brilliant. So I absolutely loved it, the fact that I went to school with this girl, and I'm now trying to help her become financially free. And then from doing that, I just found absolute passion. And so going back to rent, you take on so many rent-to-rent deals and you lose the buzz for it. It's just another deal. you need to keep your life exciting. And I'd lost the buzz. It was just another offer accepted. So when I was coaching people and they had all of these offers going out, and I'm speaking to them on a daily basis, and offer rejected, and you see their highs and lows, and they can push through it because you've been through it. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, an offer is accepted. That's when the goosebumps and the rush and the buzz came back for me. I relived my moments through my mentees, and I still get it. When I get a video call from a random mentee, and I'm like, what's this? And then they're just absolutely buzzing, like a kid at Christmas. Like they've won the lottery, and all they can do is thank you for the training. And it gives me such fulfillment, that's the word, that I help them get that property. And that's exactly where I am now, still doing this. Absolutely love it. I've got such a drive to make so many people financially free. As long as they're consistent and they're proactive, that's literally what it boils down to. If they're consistent, consistency is key in everything, in the gym, in your career, in your job. And it's exactly the same with rent to rent. So you can't just dabble in rent to rent. You've got to be full on all the time, every day, feeding that plant, feeding that business. You stop feeding it, it dies. It's a simple analogy. You stop feeding a plant water and it withers and dies. It's exactly the same with your rent-to-rent business. Just 20 minutes of activity every single day, whether that's tinkering with your website, making phone calls, sending messages on Gumtree to landlords, just something to feed your business. So that's just a quick introduction to me. That's where I am now. Still actively mentoring. I have 77 students, active every day, taking massive steps. As a mentee securing a deal every single week, at least a mentee every single week. It's an amazing platform. I love what I've created. So make sure you follow Rise Up Rent to Rent on Facebook. You can also find me on YouTube. And I'm going to I'm going to be very consistent with making these podcasts, Spotify's, you name it. It's going to go everywhere. So this is the start. I don't know if there's a like button or a subscribe button to these, but if there is, punch it and put this in your podcast save platform profiles, wherever they go. I have no idea. This is the start for me. So yeah, if there is an episode 2, be sure to listen to it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.